Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, we've got a light whiskey battle on the channel. You guys know how I feel about Rye 3. I have been sampling this bottle out. To me, this bottle is amazing. I was trying to nurse this bottle, man. This is pretty much all I have left. And when this is gone, it's none. It is no more left. I do have the one that is 69.6 ABV in the back room, but this 68.6 just hits different, man. And I was talking about how it was the GTS killer and this, that, and the third. Shout out to the folks who helped me get these other samples. One, B-Og, my bourbon brother, bourbon twin. Always got to say that. Every time I mention his name, we always put it in the comments. Shout out to my man Shane down in Texas. I've never had 15-year Penelope light whiskey before. Now, I guess you could kind of say I've had their 18-year because the Jacob's Pardon is the 18-year light whiskey that they sourced for from MGP. So anyway, getting back to the lineup. Lastly, let's shout out my man Dave V, the magic wand, Dave Vogelsang. The dude is just incredible, man, when it comes to giving samples out. So I am going to get all of these poured up, see if my number one Rye 3 light whiskey can be beaten by any of these three. So let me get the table set up. I'll be right back. Now that I do have them poured up, I want to explain that I do have all of these turned towards me so that I can give you the rundown. We've got the Rye 3 light whiskey. It's 16 years old. It is 68.6 ABV, which is actually 139.2 proof. Then we have Jacob's Pardon. This is the 18-year batch 3 coming in at 142.7 proof. Next up on the list, Penelope's 15-year American Light Whiskey coming in at 64.2 ABV, which is 128.4 proof. And then we've got the Bull Run American Whiskey, aged 15 years, Bourbon Van Pick coming in at 116.3 proof. So that's actually the lowest proof of all of the four. And it's actually a different mash bill. So most of these, like 1 through 3 are 99% corn, 1% malted barley. I couldn't necessarily find the information on this one. I probably just didn't do a good enough job. But this Bull Run, most of their stuff that I found online says that it is a 96% corn and a 4% malted barley. So that one might stand out. Anyway, let's get this thing spun up. Once the wheel stops, I'll go ahead and get them off the wheel, and then we will start nosing, tasting. Now, this is going to be place A, B, C, and D. So it's going to be place A, B, C, and D from my right to my left to make it easier to follow at home. So don't look at the bottles on the table and assume that those are the order that they are in. So, all right, first up, place A. Let's get into the nose. Very sweet, very oaky, very oaky. A very nice caramel vanilla sweetness on the nose too. Ooh, that is really nice. It is almost like somebody stuck a piece of oak or just wood period into just like honey, caramel, and vanilla. Now, if you don't know what light whiskey is different from bourbon in the sense that it is normally 99% corn. Like normally most light whiskeys, it still has to derive from a grain, but they're normally 99% corn, and bourbon can only be distilled up to 160 proof. Light whiskey can go all the way up to 190 proof, and I believe the beginning point is 160, just so that it can differentiate itself from bourbon. So the process being distilled between 160 and 190 proof. Also, another thing about light whiskey is light whiskey can't go into a new charred oak barrel. It can go into a new uncharred oak barrel, and it can go into a used charred oak barrel, but it can never touch a newly charred oak barrel. And I think that they probably also do that to try and keep it away from bourbon standards, because bourbon has to be aged in new charred oak in order to be considered bourbon. And then if you want to finish it, then other rules come into play. But that's pretty much it. So this one, like I said, this one right here being 96% corn will be the first time that I've had something that's 96% and 4% malted barley. Let's get into nose of glass B. Oh, that's peppery. Very peppery on the nose. Peppery, oaky. Deeper I get into the glass, some of that vanilla I can kind of pull out. Ooh, stings the nose just a touch, not hard, but like the deeper I went and the more I inhaled, the left side just kind of took a hit. All right, let's get into glass C. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. That's got like a little bit of that cherry in there. Oak in there, like a dusty oak. This and glass A. So C and A smell so similar. It's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, that's nice. All right, let's get into the nose of glass D. Oh, that one is different. That one is really different. It came across with a little bit more of like almost like a maple syrup note on the nose, like maple syrup and honey on the nose. Ooh, a nice vanilla cream, almost like the I've said this before in past videos, the cream in the center of the caramel like chews. That is nice. Oh, like a strawberry cream too. All right, let's get into the palate of glass A. That had some proof on it. That had some proof on it, but it was so good, so creamy. It was like the way the nose smelled on glass D is what I picked up on the palate. I'm starting to get a little bit of a char, slight cocoa note in the back, but like that dark chocolate and char in the back, but it was strawberry cream that came across the palate. That was really good. All right, let's get into glass B. That might be the right three. That was punchy. That oak hit me. It just had the savoriness going on. That is really good. That's actually warming me up down the middle, man. Wow. That's actually warming me up down the middle. The finish finishes softer though. The finish seems like it finishes softer. It's more leather in the finish. It's not like heavy char and heavy like dark chocolate. It's more leather in the finish than anything. All right, let's go into glass number, well, letter C. All right. After coming off of letter B or glass B, that's lighter. It's definitely lighter. I'm picking up more cherry notes, more of like that maybe cherry Twizzler, strawberry Twizzler, but it just seems to be coming off lighter. It's not as punchy. Glass B just had this savoriness that just rocked you as soon as you put it on the palate. Let's go into glass D. Oh, that is such a nice nose and a different nose than all of these. It's like a maple syrup and honey. Oh, that's good. That's good too. That is closer in palate. It's spicier though. It's spicier, heavy honey, heavy cherry. It doesn't have that robust savoriness that glass B had. So B, A and C were the closest on the nose, or very similar on the nose. And B and D. So A and C were very similar on the nose, and B and D were very similar on the palate. B just was a little more punchier. B had a little more of a savory note going on. D it's very good, but it's just missing that it's missing like a punchiness to it. All right, I am probably going to speed this up. I'm going to go back from D to A, then I'm going to reveal the results and give you which one I think is number one. All right, I'm ready to reveal. They stood up the same way backwards as they did forward. Number one, hands down, glass B. D, glass is number two. Glass A is in third place. And glass C is in fourth place. Now, you know how much I love my Rye 3 16-year light whiskey. Wow, this thing has got me. They're oaky and they're hot. They do drink lower than their proofs. I will say that. But they are oaky, and that, especially B just has this punch and this bite to it that I just, man, this savoriness to it. Saltiness almost. All right, anyway, let's go back in. Glass B was my number one. This is Rye 3 16-year light whiskey. I'm gonna zoom in on that. All right, glass 2 is Jacob's Pardon. shout out to Brian, man. I'm telling you, me and that dude. That's why I say Bourbon Brothers, Bourbon Twins, because me and this dude have the same palate, man. So I'm gonna zoom in on this one. All right, glass number 3 is gonna be Penelope. This is the Penelope 15-year light whiskey. And glass number 4 is going to be, of course, the Bourbon Van Pick. This is the Bull Run 15-year Bourbon Van Pick. I'll put that up so you guys can see that. But it is something special about that Rye 3, man. Now, don't get me wrong. That Jacob's Pardon, when I nosed this one, I was like, is that the Rye 3? When I tasted that one, I was like, oh, yeah. I think that might be the Rye 3. And then I got to this one, it was kind of like, okay. Then I got to that one, and I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, is this the Rye 3? Like, because they were that close, but it is just something about this Rye 3, at least the 68.6, that just has this punchy savoriness in it, man. I'm telling you. But anyway, look, this was fun. Shout out to everybody that provided the samples. Once again, my man Brian, my man Dave, my man Shane. I can't thank you guys enough for making this happen. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out. Let's get it to a drop. Till next time.